Welcome, folks. Today we are discussing Agus Pakpahan's insightful work on development as liberation, institutionalizing the values of independence in Indonesian development. It's a compelling analysis of Indonesia's economic trajectory and the crucial role of ideology in shaping its progress.
I'm eager to hear more. What's the central argument of Pakpahan's piece?
Essentially, Pakpahan argues that Indonesia's development has been hampered by a failure to fully embrace the spirit of independence, as enshrined in its founding principles. He contends that a focus on purely materialistic gains, rather than a deeper commitment to liberating the nation from various forms of dependence, has led to a pattern of growth without genuine development.
Could you elaborate on this distinction between growth and development?
Certainly. Pakpahan uses the term development without liberation to describe Indonesia's reliance on extractive industries, mining, forestry, and plantations, without sufficient investment in value-added processing or industrialization. This leads to economic growth, measured by increased GDP, but fails to create a truly independent and prosperous nation. The nation remains dependent on exporting raw materials, limiting its overall economic potential, and leaving it vulnerable to global price fluctuations. True development, in his view, requires a shift towards a knowledge-based economy and a more equitable distribution of wealth.
Interesting. How does he support this claim? What evidence does he present?
He uses a comparative approach, contrasting Indonesia's post-independence economic performance with that of other nations, particularly South Korea and Malaysia. He analyzes balance of payments data, showing that Indonesia's reliance on extractive industries and foreign capital mirrors patterns from the Dutch colonial era. Despite significant growth, Indonesia continues to experience a persistent current account deficit, highlighting its dependence on foreign investment and its failure to diversify its economy. He also points to the Low Economic Complexity Index, ECI, for Indonesia, indicating a lack of knowledge-intensive industries and a continued reliance on exporting raw materials.
So, he's essentially arguing that Indonesia's economic policies haven't truly broken free from colonial patterns?
Precisely. He argues that the continuation of practices like the Hak Guna Usaha, HGU system, which grants long-term land concessions to corporations, perpetuates a neo-feudal system that benefits corporations at the expense of the nation's long-term development and environmental sustainability. This system, he argues, hinders the development of downstream industries and perpetuates dependence on extractive industries. He contrasts this with the more successful development strategies of other nations, emphasizing the importance of investment in research and development, R&D, and the creation of a knowledge-based economy.
That's a strong critique. Does he offer any solutions or alternative approaches?
Yes, he advocates for a development as liberation approach. This involves a fundamental shift in mindset, moving away from a purely materialistic view of development towards one that prioritizes national independence and social justice. He highlights examples like Japan's adoption of a zero-interest rate policy in 1999, which prioritized investment and national interests over short-term financial gains. He also emphasizes the need for agrarian reform, promoting equitable land distribution and empowering smallholder farmers. Furthermore, he stresses the importance of investing heavily in R&D and education to build a knowledge-based economy and reduce dependence on extractive industries. He uses the example of Abraham Lincoln's policies in the U.S., which included agrarian reforms and the establishment of land-grant universities, as a model for achieving sustainable development.
It sounds like he's calling for a significant paradigm shift in Indonesia's approach to development, moving beyond simply chasing economic growth to a more holistic and sustainable model.
Exactly. He argues that true independence requires breaking free from the traps of neo-colonial economic structures and embracing a development model that prioritizes national self-reliance, social equity, and environmental sustainability. He emphasizes the need for a national commitment to R&D, education, and a shift away from extractive industries towards a more diversified and knowledge-based economy. This requires not only policy changes, but also a fundamental shift in national consciousness and a commitment to long-term vision over short-term gains.
This is a really thought-provoking analysis. It seems to suggest that economic development is not just about numbers, but also about deeply ingrained cultural and political factors.
Absolutely. Pakpahan's work underscores the crucial interplay between economic policy, national identity, and the pursuit of a truly independent and prosperous future. He challenges us to consider the deeper, often overlooked ideological factors that shape a nation's economic trajectory. It's a call for a more nuanced and holistic understanding of development, one that goes beyond simple economic indicators and delves into the cultural and political underpinnings of economic progress.